Have you ever felt completely drained after spending time with certain individuals? It's not just in your head. Certain people, due to their personality traits or behaviors, can affect our mental and emotional state. They're often referred to as energy drainers. These individuals may not mean harm, but their presence can leave us feeling exhausted, stressed, or even depressed. It's like they suck the energy right out of us, leaving us feeling depleted and drained. This isn't about blaming or labeling people, but rather recognizing the impact certain behaviors can have on our well-being. It's about understanding how to protect our energy, set boundaries, and navigate relationships more effectively. So, let's dive right in and shed some light on these energy vampires. Today, we're going to explore 6 types of people who might be draining your energy. Stay tuned as we delve into the first type, the self-destructive. First off, we have the self-destructive individual. Now, we've all met someone like this, haven't we? These are the folks who seem to be drawn like magnets to harmful behaviors and negative patterns. It's as though they're caught in a whirlpool of their own making, spiraling downwards and taking anyone close to them along for the ride. Imagine being around someone who is constantly engaging in self-sabotage, disregarding their own welfare, or indulging in behaviors that they know are bad for them. It's like watching a car crash in slow motion, isn't it? You want to look away, but something compels you to watch, to bear witness to the destruction. And then there's the emotional toll of being around a self-destructive individual. It's not just about watching them harm themselves. It's also the energy you expend trying to manage or respond to their crises. The constant negativity can be emotionally draining, like a dark cloud that follows you around, blocking out the light of positivity and joy. There's also the burden of guilt and responsibility. Can you help them? Should you help them? These questions can weigh heavily on your mind, adding to the emotional toll. The struggle to maintain your own mental well-being while trying to support a self-destructive person can be a delicate balancing act. And so, my friends, being around such individuals can be emotionally taxing. Next, we have the gossip. This type of energy drainer thrives on sharing the latest rumors, secrets, and negative news about others. They're the ones who always seem to have the inside scoop, the latest tidbit of scandalous information, or the newest piece of behind-the-scenes drama. They revel in the misfortunes, flaws, and failings of others, often without considering the impact of their words on the people involved, or indeed those around them. Gossips can be particularly draining because they create a culture of negativity. Their constant chatter about others' lives can lead to an environment where trust is eroded and suspicion and cynicism thrive. This can affect your own perspective, leading you to view others through a lens of doubt and negativity. These individuals often lack empathy, focusing more on the thrill of a juicy story than on the feelings of the people involved. Their conversations are rarely uplifting or positive. Instead, they tend to revolve around negative aspects, fostering an atmosphere of discontent and unease. Their need for drama and intrigue can make you feel like you're constantly in a whirlwind of negativity, which can be incredibly draining. You may find yourself feeling tense, stressed, or anxious after spending time with them, as their negativity can seep into your own state of mind. In the end, their negative focus can significantly affect your own outlook and energy. It's essential to recognize this and take steps to protect yourself from their toxic influence. Our third type is the envious individual. Envy is a universal human experience, but when it becomes a dominant trait, it can be a real energy drainer. Envious individuals have a tendency to constantly measure themselves against others. They are perpetually caught up in comparisons, always looking at what others have, what others achieve, and feeling discontented when they perceive themselves to be lacking. This constant comparison game can create a negative atmosphere that sucks the energy out of those around them. It's as if they're stuck in a perpetual storm of dissatisfaction, always looking out at a perceived better weather elsewhere. Their conversations are frequently peppered with phrases like, "I wish I had," or "if only I could be like." But more than the negativity, it's their inability to genuinely celebrate the success of others that can be emotionally draining. When someone else's achievement becomes a benchmark for their dissatisfaction, it's hard to share moments of joy and triumph. Instead, these moments are tinged with their undercurrents of envy and discontent. Envious individuals often struggle with self-esteem issues, as their self-worth is tied to how they measure up against others. This constant need for comparison can take a toll on their own mental well-being, and unfortunately, on those around them as well. Their inability to be happy for others can be quite draining. Scene script. Next up is the victim. Imagine being in a room where the walls are continually closing in. That's what it feels like to be around a person who always plays the victim. This individual lives in a world where everything and everyone is against them. They're often marred by a persistent cloud of negativity that looms large, casting a shadow over everyone else in their vicinity. The victim is a master of deflection. They refuse to shoulder responsibility for their actions, always finding a way to shift the blame onto others or circumstances beyond their control. They're in a perpetual state of complaint, finding fault in everything around them. The sun could be shining, the birds could be singing, but they'd still find a reason to grumble. Their constant complaints can cause those around them to feel like they're walking on eggshells, creating a tense and uncomfortable environment. This can be incredibly draining, as you may find yourself constantly trying to lift their spirits or solve their problems. But here's the real kicker. The victim often resists positive changes. They're stuck in their comfort zone of self-pity, and any attempt to pull them out is met with resistance. This refusal to embrace positivity, to make the necessary changes for a happier life, can leave those around them feeling completely depleted. Their refusal to make positive changes can be quite exhausting. The fifth type is the criticizer. These are the people who seem to have an eagle eye for faults and flaws, finding something to criticize in almost every situation. They are the masters of judgment, often quick to point out errors, and seldom shy about sharing their opinions, solicited or not. The criticizer is like a walking rain cloud, dampening spirits with their constant negativity. They don't just critique actions or situations, they often criticize people, undermining self-confidence and self-worth. You may find yourself second-guessing your decisions, questioning your abilities, or feeling inadequate around them. Their criticism isn't always out in the open. Sometimes it's subtle, hidden behind a facade of concern or masked as friendly advice. But the impact is the same. It leaves you feeling drained, emotionally exhausted. The criticizer's behavior is often rooted in their own insecurities. They criticize to elevate themselves, to feel superior. But this superiority comes at a cost, and that cost is often the well-being of those around them. The key to dealing with the criticizer is not to internalize their criticism. Remember, their words are a reflection of them, not you. It's essential to maintain your self-esteem and not let their negativity affect your perception of yourself. It's not easy to be around the criticizer. Their constant criticism can be emotionally exhausting, but by recognizing their behavior and taking steps to protect your emotional health, you can navigate these tricky interactions with resilience and grace. Last but not least, we have the winner. This character type is marked by an intense level of competitiveness, a trait that can sometimes burn brighter than the sun. They're the ones who always need to be the best, to come out on top no matter what the situation is. Whether it's a friendly game of cards, a work project, or even a casual conversation, they're constantly turning life into a race, and they're determined to be the first over the finish line. What makes the winner so exhausting? It's their relentless need to dominate. There's no such thing as a simple interaction with these individuals. Every conversation, every activity becomes a battlefield, and they're always ready for war. Their constant drive to outdo others can create a stressful environment, filled with unnecessary conflicts and tension. But it's not just about the battles they choose to fight, it's also about the ones they refuse to lose. They're the last to back down from an argument, the ones who always need to have the last word. Their stubbornness can be as draining as their competitiveness, as they'll go to great lengths to prove they're right. In their world, there's no room for compromise or mutual respect. It's all about winning. But at what cost? The energy and peace of their companions, it seems. Their need to always win can be quite draining. In conclusion, recognizing these 6 types of energy-draining people is the first step to better mental and emotional health. We've explored the self-destructive, the individuals who spiral in negativity and crisis. We've discussed the gossip, the person who thrives in spreading negativity about others. We've identified the envious, those who constantly compare themselves to others, and the victim, individuals who shirk responsibility and wallow in their perceived misfortunes. We've also examined the criticizer, the one always ready to find fault in others, and the winner, the overly competitive individual who perpetually seeks domination. Each of these personalities can be challenging to handle, but recognizing them is the first step in maintaining your mental and emotional health. It's crucial to set boundaries with these personality types and limit your exposure to them. Remember, your mental and emotional health is paramount. Take care of yourself first and foremost.